Reversible Inhibition by Aoife O'Shea and Maria O'Sullivan.
Inhibition refers to the binding of a molecule to an enzyme to prevent a substrate from entering the enzyme's active site.
A reversible inhibitor is one that, once removed, allows the enzyme it was inhibiting to work normally again. This slows down an enzyme or prevents enzyme turnover.
Reversible inhibition usually occurs extremely rapidly because there is no chemical reaction involved. There is simply a non-covalent interaction with weak bonds such as hydrogen bonding or dipole-dipole interactions.
These bonds can be easily broken, thus returning the enzyme to its original shape and allowing it to function again. Reversible inhibitors are involved in controlling metabolism, agricultural purposes, and they are also used as drugs.
There are 4 types of reversible inhibition. These are competitive, non-competitive, uncompetitive, and mixed.
Competitive inhibition. This is where the inhibitor, i.e. the molecular ion, binds to the active site. The structure of the inhibitor resembles the structure of the substrate, and so the substrate and the inhibitor fight for the active site.
To reverse this process, we can increase the substrate concentration. Seeing as the substrate will be more plentiful than the inhibitor, the substrate will bind to the active site instead of the inhibitor. It is used to synthesize drugs that competitively inhibit metabolic processes in bacteria and certain cancer cells.
Non-competitive inhibition. The inhibitor does not resemble the structure of the substrate. The inhibitor can bind to the enzyme regardless if the substrate is bound to the active site, because the inhibitor binds to both the enzyme and the enzyme-substrate complex.
The inhibitor cannot bind to the active site.
Uncompetitive inhibition. This only occurs when the inhibitor binds to the enzyme-substrate complex. The binding of the substrate to the enzyme can create a site for the inhibitor to bind to. Inhibition cannot be prevented by increasing the substrate concentration. Mixed inhibition. This is when the enzyme inhibitor complex has a lower affinity for the substrate than the enzyme has, making the enzyme substrate inhibitor complex non-productive. This type of inhibition is a mixture of both competitive and non-competitive.
Created using Powtoon.